Welcome to The Engaging Life, a podcast about using engagement equity to improve your relationship building skills in your personal and professional life. And now, here are your hosts, Brandon Suba and Angela Cheney.
Well, hello, Angela.
Hello there, Brandon.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, and you?
You know, I'm excited to be on the mic with you today, but I want to promote right out of the chute because I'm going to forget YouTube. You can see our podcast on YouTube now, and you can see because I do not like my current haircut.
And you can also see that he has a snazzy new outfit on.
I do, new
that
polos.
We were just talking about prior to filming.
And I'll probably have new polos going forward because I purged my closet. And I now have about 60 extra hangers because, you know, like the button-up shirts, you don't wear them all the time.
Right.
And they're a specific color. And so you hold on to them.
I don't know that.
You don't wear a lot of button-up
I
suits,
don't.
do you?
I don't. But I do have a husband who dresses up.
Does he hold on to stuff for a long time? Like we're talking a dingy white button-up shirt
No.
with like the collars all.
He's pretty fastidious.
Is he? Okay.
Or as we like to say, as I like to say, fussy. He can be a little fussy.
He can be fussy. So
Yeah.
so once a shirt is needs to be retired, he'll retire.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't. Yeah. I don't. And I needed to. And so that's what I did. Gosh, I did that yesterday.
Did that make you feel good? I love purging.
It did. Yes. No, it did.
I don't love purging. I love purging belongings.
Things.
Yes.
2 bags to Goodwill and then 1 straight to the trash. Because
nice.
Once again, promotional stuff. I did keep a Pixel Fire shirt. I know that's what you were going to ask me.
It was not actually. Thread Up. You can actually get a bag and put all of your old clothes in there and just send it off. And if there's anything in it decent, they resell it for you.
Really?
Otherwise, they recycle it.
Do they give you money?
Yes. If they sell it, yes.
Well, I might
Resource,
look into that.
threadup.com.
The Engagement Life podcast brought to you by ThreadUp.
It could be if they would like to sponsor.
Want to sponsor us? Okay, well, that is not a segue towards our topic today, but let's go ahead and dig in to the episode today. This is a topic I've talked about a lot. I think I say that about every topic that.
I think I do as well.
Okay, well, no, it's your favorite. Yours is always your favorite. This one,
okay,
I've
right.
talked about a lot in the past.
Right. You talk a lot, and I have a lot of favorites.
And that's why we get along so
right.
well. So well. Okay, so the topic today is I want to talk about referrals. And a lot of the times, and I want to go, and this is where you come in, I want to go beyond just the closed networking groups, because that's really what this is tailored for. But I know you'll drag me out of those. But what happens a lot of times is I've invested money, I've invested time, I should be getting referrals, right? Have you ever heard that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that those two things are not important. You do need to, but I think it's where the time is put. And we talk about visibility. Go to the meetings, go to the extra events, volunteer, all that kind of stuff. All of that is still important. But when you have an opportunity to specifically ask for a referral or a business, or even at a networking event, and I want to talk about networking events in this because I had a crazy bad experience, not a bad experience. I found someone that did not know what referrals they were looking for.
Okay.
And when I got to the point of the conversation where I really could have helped them, it went downhill. Like it just lost it. And I'll share that. I'll share the story as we get into it.
Well, I hope so. It sounds interesting.
So it's a good, I can't remember the lady's name either. So I'm not picking
We'll go
on
with
anyone.
Jane.
We'll go with Jane. Maybe it was.
Jane.
So what I want to talk about today is what you can do to improve the referrals that you're receiving from others, and then how much work you need to, the work you need to put in, I guess not how much, the work that you need to put in. Because getting a good referral, let's use the 80-20. It's 80% the effort you put in, 20% the other person, right?
Correct.
Okay. So first off, the word anybody. Have you been, in the marketing world, how often do you use the word anybody?
Most people use it far too often, and the rule there is if you're trying to market to everybody / anybody, you're marketing to nobody.
Awesome. And a lot of the times what we used to say is it's too broad, right? People can't zero in. Well, I had an epiphany one day. I don't know if I wasn't reading. I don't know if it was a book or a podcast or what I was listening to, but what I realized was when you use the word anybody, you're asking them to do a lot more work to get you what you want.
Okay.
So when you think about this is how I've presented it. Okay, raise your hand. This would be in a group. It's just us. But raise your hand if you prospect for your own clients. Like you go and you try to find your own clients, right? Okay, my hand's up, your hand's up. Right. So when I say I'm looking for, I'll tear apart anybody here in a minute, but I'm looking for anybody that needs insurance. We pick on insurance from time to time.
Sure.
I have nothing against insurance agents.
Well,
we all need them.
It's because it's one of those industries that technically everyone needs it.
Okay, good, because it's the need, not the one. Okay,
yes.
So anybody that needs insurance. Well, now you're asking me to go prospect, right? So I need to find somebody, start a conversation, build that credibility to the point that I can say, oh my gosh, you should use Angela for your insurance. And so that's where that's why people shut down when you say anybody, because you're asking them to do so much work for you. So it's not that it's too broad. It's not that our brains can't zero in, because I definitely can think of somebody that wants or needs. I mean, they need insurance. I'm sure I can think of somebody, but I'm not going to take the time and effort to take that person and turn them into a referral for you.
Correct. And it's not that person's job.
It is not. No. And just because we're in a group together or we're at a network, I'm not. And honestly, they're not going to do it. Like nobody's going to put it on their schedule. Oh my gosh, better go prospect for this other industry that I'm not involved in.
You have to make it easy for people to give you referrals.
Yes, the easy button.
Yes.
And the easier it is, the more referrals you will get. So if you are that person that's here's where I'll rip apart the anybody. Here's some of them that I've heard. And they're funny the first time. And then when you've heard it 100 times, which I think you've networked enough, you're going to be up there. Okay, you ready?
Not so funny anymore.
Hairstylist. Anybody with hair.
Oh, that's not everybody.
No, and what's funny is you always look at the bald people in the room when you hear that, because you're like, oh, Jim doesn't have any hair, does he? You don't count.
Right. Yeah, that gets a laugh about the first time, and then have you been in those where the same person cracks the same jokes almost every meeting?
Yep.
And then you've got some of the real clicky groups where they still continue to do the laugh. It gets more and more forced.
Funny, yes.
Or it gets more and more forced every time. And then each person that goes around tries to build on it. Have you ever been in those cringeworthy groups?
Wedding season, if you get the right run, you'll have everybody. And then, like
and then
insurance.
ones who are totally off the grid try and do it.
Yes, and they don't belong.
And they think it's totally funny. And it's just like, get me out of here. I want to die now.
Yep. So then I go chiropractor, anybody with a spine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, everybody has a spine.
I know some people who don't.
Well, it's one thing to say they're spineless. It's another to say they physically don't have a spine. So it's those things. Yes, it gets a laugh the first time. And I think if you use it once a year, maybe, right? Or if it's a big event.
I don't think you should use it at all.
Well, you're the marketing person, so I would trust you more than me. But what I want you to translate that into, though, is let's say you're at a networking event. You meet somebody, good conversations are going on, and you go, hey, by the way, I'm looking for somebody with a spine. Yeah. It's just like, it's not funny now because it's that one-on-one.
And I hate that for several reasons other than what you're saying and other than in a closed networking group. Because number one, it's extremely egotistical because it is saying, I am the right person for every single person in the world.
Yep.
That's very, very egotistical. I am the right person for everyone. So not just is it hard for somebody to give you a referral for that, but it's also like, look at me. If you have a spine, you better be coming to me.
Oh.
Which, when it comes to like chiropractic, how many different techniques are there? How many different bedside manners are there? How many different specialties are there?
Yeah.
Everybody with a spine is not your ideal client.
They're not. Oh, gosh, no. And to me, if you've built your business to a certain extent, you are happy to say no to clients. You get to a point where you can pick and choose. Now, early days, I mean, you take anything, right?
Right.
And that teaches you a lot of things, but then you learn who you don't want. Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of customers you don't want that have spines.
Right.
And hair.
And the second reason I hate that is because everybody wants to feel special. Absolutely everybody wants to feel special. And we're going to be talking about this in our next podcast about marketing techniques, is that one of the reasons why when you market to everybody, you market to no one is because no one can see themselves in that ask. And nobody wants to say, I'm just a number. I'm just one of the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, if you're the right person for Joe and Mary and Blake and Raul, I don't just want to be another Joe, Mary, Blake. I'm Angie. I'm
Right.
different. I am me. So the more you can get down to now, when you start saying women in their mid 40s who've had a child and feel tired in the mornings, then all of a sudden it becomes, that is me.
Ooh,
And
'cause you're
people like
describing
me.
them.
Yeah. And you feel more special that way. So
I did, and I've never taken that angle, like because you're losing opportunity,
Yes.
not just because you're asking them to go do all that stuff, but then you're like excluding them.
Yes.
You're taking them out. Interesting. So okay, so that's the networking world. I think that goes a little outside of the networking world. Even
does.
that's that personal.
it
right?
does both of
You're-
those. The two reasons why I hate that definitely goes outside of
the
that.
personal. Yeah. So okay, so let's focus on I call them the hard networking groups, right? Only one profession per
Correct.
group, that sort of thing.
Exclusive. Is that the right word?
Exclusive? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But I'm no wordsmith. I can't even remember the bag of fish or what was the
Kettle of fish.
kettle of fish. Good old bag of go back a few episodes and you'll learn about the kettle of fish.
A whole
Kettle of fish.
not a bag.
All right, so
No, fine kettle of fish.
oh my gosh, we don't even.
Sorry,
you
I'm
nailed.
done.
No, in fairness, you nailed it on the podcast. So I'm the one butchering
Correct.
it. All right, so we're gonna look at a hard networking group. You have an opportunity to stand up and ask for a referral. This does apply to me in the networking world too, just general networking, but I'll dig into that in a second here. So the first thing, eliminate anybody. Talk about an industry, a specific industry.
Okay.
And we should probably write this down somewhere because I'm sure we'll do an episode on scarcity mindset. Tell you the truth, I think you're going to talk about it a little bit in the next episode here. But what people are scared of, why they use anybody, is because they don't want to narrow it down to where you're not going to pass that referral. So if I say, I'm looking for people in the piano tuning field. Okay, small field.
Right.
Not a lot of people. But if there's a benefit for it. So now what people are worried is you're only going to look for piano tuners for me.
Which is not giving the other people in the group much respect. It's like saying you're a bunch of morons. If I say piano tuning, all of a sudden you're not going to give me the referral from your friend who's in mortgage.
Yep.
It's like people aren't, some people,
Most people.
but for the majority of people, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know anyone in piano tuning, but last week he asked for this, or I know he does this, and this would be a good, they're still going to give you the referral.
Well, and it's the effort you're putting in to be more specific. They want to help you more because you're
Yes.
making it ready. Easy. I'm pushing
Yes.
buttons. Go to YouTube and you see me push a fake button, the easy button, right?
Right.
And like you said, gosh, I don't know piano tuners, but I know this person
Right.
and maybe they'll be a fit for you.
And also, it gets people. I mean, if you just right now, Angie, do you know anybody who blah, blah, blah? Well, I know a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And your mind just cannot settle on anything. But if you say, Angie, do you know any financial planners in their 50s who've been at their company more than 10 years? Well, now, and maybe I don't, but maybe I do. And that's very easy. Oh, I know John and Todd. And
And you know what I like about that too? So what that gives me the opportunity is to go to the financial planners I know and I say, hey, how long have you had your business? I probably wouldn't just ask anybody this, but and how old are you? Because once again, it's more specific and that helps trigger our brains to say, oh, you should probably consider this person. Now notice I said I reached out to them and asked them the questions, and we'll get to that at the end here.
Yeah, I also like that too because it helps the other people be curious. And it also helps you set yourself apart because once you ask for that referral, then you should follow up with why. So I'm looking for financial planners who've been in the business more than 10 years and are 50 because they're going to qualify for XYZ that I can help put them into this. So they give information. They can say why this is a good fit. And then that also makes them look more authoritative because they're saying, I know exactly who I can help with this product.
And then you get excited, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I got that.
Yeah.
Okay. So worst, the most simple is have an industry that you want to work with. One thing I always had to do a twist on is if you're, business to consumer? So not business to business, business to consumer. There are still ways to talk about industry. It's obviously not an industry, but that's where you get into your moms that
Sure.
are at home with 3 kids, right? Like, I know that's not an industry, but it's more specific than
You
just
can
anybody.
still do industry because people, whether you're trying to reach them as a consumer or a business person, they're still a person.
Oh, true.
And so what they do for a living often has an effect, on who they are as a person. So even if you're targeting them on a consumer level, you can still pick industries that maybe this industry, cleaning ladies, for example, maybe they have a lot of back pain because they're always bending over. So that would be great for a chiropractor. Even though they don't want their business as cleaning people,
right?
They understand that cleaning people tend to have back problems because of the industry they are in.
Okay, good. All right, so industry. Next is position held in an industry.
Okay.
So I've used this example up and down, left and right, and this is from the good old days. So I sold countertops that went over an existing countertop.
Okay.
One niche I found is for minor hospital repairs. They did not have to clear out a whole segment for dust or whatever reasons because we could just come and glue it right on top.
Okay.
So I could say, I am looking for people that work at the Children's Hospital, which here locally, I don't know, it's a beautiful hospital. So I'm looking for people that work at the Children's Hospital. Now, Angie, if you know someone that works at the Children's Hospital, what is their profession there? Most likely.
Doctor?
Yeah, doctor, nurse maybe, right?
Yeah.
And do the doctors or the nurses give two craps about the remodeling project going on right now?
Like in the hospital?
It would be in the hospital, yep.
Probably not.
No, actually, they're probably mad about it, right?
Right.
So they're the last people, but that's the industry I said, and people gave me those referrals. Didn't work. So then I came back and I said, I am looking for people that work in the maintenance department at the Children's Hospital. So now, yes, I've eliminated a handful of people that once were going to be bad referrals.
Right, which is good.
Which is great. But now I've narrowed it down to maybe 2 or 3 opportunities that are quality referrals of what I am looking for. So, and I hope you're getting the, oh my gosh, this is going to take a little work. Yeah, it is. It is. The more work you put in, the better the referral is going to be.
And it almost becomes kind of like a game show.
It totally is.
Because people get really excited when they do know that person.
Yes! Yeah.
They're just like, I know somebody in maintenance at Children's Hospital. I win.
Boom!
And it becomes more of a, they want to give it to you because they're so excited that they're the ones who can.
Yep. And,
Yeah.
and any referral with excitement behind it is better than the boring maybe this will work referral.
Yes.
So think about the positions. What are you selling? What are you offering? And who are going to be your primary users or primary referral sources for your product? So dig it in. Now, the best you can do is a name. So you've got the industry, what department they work in, and the name of who you want to meet. I saw that. Most of my stories are my stories. I can't say all of them are. Most of them are. This is my story though. So I was in a group and they were going around. A person stands up. She was in marketing and focusing on food photography, and specifically said,
It's Sherry.
Yes, it is Sherry. You know Sherry.
I do know Sherry.
I know you know Sherry very well. And she stood up and she said, I am looking to meet, and I don't remember the name. I'm looking to meet John that owns Ozark Barbecue Company. I went and I ate there. And I just know there's a lot of opportunity for their menu. So as we're going around, the lawyer in the group stands up and says her little thing. And she goes, and by the way, John is my cousin. I would love to give you that introduction.
Perfect.
So, I mean, and it's not always going to happen, but I just watched this go down. And I'm like, that is so cool. And the one thing I did know, and this is kind of what I'm going to close out with, is they had the credibility for that referral to happen.
Right.
Because, do you have anything on the name? I mean, it's...
No, I like that. The only way I would go forward with that is to say, if you do know John at Ozark, let's the 3 of us go out for a beer together. I just want to, chit chat with him and get to know him a little bit better. Because if you are asking, because when you get that specific, now you've got somebody who knows someone specific. They're putting their reputation on the line, and they're probably going to be afraid if I do hook these 2 people up, they're just going to try and sell them.
Bingo. Yep.
So I would definitely put in there, this is what I will do with this name if you give it to me. And I want you to be there too. Because, if you want to. I would love to take both of you out for drink, for lunch, coffee, whatever you feel most comfortable with, just so I can put a face with a name and talk to them a little bit. I'm not going to, you don't necessarily have to say I'm not going to try and sell them right away.
But sometimes you should. I'm
right.
not going to lie.
Yeah.
So that's the most important piece to this. So you've put your time and effort. You've Googled the company. You found that person that you need to talk to. Or maybe I've actually used my opportunity to ask for referrals to say, do you know of any names that are at this company in this department? So somebody else might help me drop the name. But if you can come up with the name, the most important thing is your credibility with your fellow members.
Yes.
Because if you don't have credibility with me and I know the person that you want to talk to, I'm not going to pass that referral.
You're not going to give them
I'm not going to.
No.
My dad ran a food manufacturing plant, and there were a handful of salespeople that when they found out who I was, they were like, oh my gosh, can you introduce me to your dad? And my question right back was, yeah, why though? And that's kind of that coffee and really adding on why you want to meet this person. And a lot of the times I got I want to educate them on opportunities, blah, 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 blah. And in my head, I'm like, I know what the word education means in sales. It means
selling them.
You want to sell them. You want to sell them. And he's a big golfer. So people will be like, oh, can I take him golfing? And my favorite line is like, he actually doesn't really golf with anybody but the old guys that he golfs with in the morning. Like, he's done this so many times.
Right.
He knows what this leads to. You're here for business, not to hang out or to get the best dang score on the. He's a good golfer. I'll hand it to him. So
even though he doesn't like your hair.
Yeah. I'll wear a hat then when I go golfing with him. But we're going tomorrow, by the way. I'm golfing with my dad. First time in like years. So
fantastic.
Very
wear
excited.
A hat.
Happy Hollow. He's a member out there. So I get to go golf at Happy.
Did you think I asked where you were going?
Yeah, I thought you just asked that.
I said wear a hat. And you said Happy Hollow.
You said wear a hat?
I was like,
oh man, I'm not trying to brag. I'm really not. I'm excited to golf there. Okay. So without the credibility, you're just not going to get that referral passed. Without explaining why, you're probably not going to get that referral that you're looking for. But you're better off being more specific when you have that opportunity. So the story that we've all been waiting for. So I went to a networking event. It was a general networking event, a good event, I'll say. And I ended up on a couch with 3 other women. I know, doesn't that sound...
Boy.
Sounds like hopefully Liz isn't listening to this, right? 3 other women. And we got talking. 2 of them kind of started talking. And so I started talking to the other one. And it was a good conversation. We were really getting to know each other. And so I finally said, so what is like the ideal referral? What's your number one referral? And she looks at me and she goes, have you listened to anything I've said?
Oh, geez.
Everybody's a referral for me.
Oh.
And at that point I was like, oh,
and
here
we're done.
we are. Yeah.
And we're
I was just
done.
like, so even if I had somebody in mind, I'm not going to even try now.
Yeah.
Because her mindset truly was that selfish.
I can help every single person in the world.
Everybody needs my product and service. And to show how impactful it was, I don't even remember what her product or service was.
You probably just immediately glazed over everything she said and was like, done.
Pretty much. And it was the awkward because like I was sitting on the couch, I just wanted to get up and leave.
Yeah.
Because I hit a wall. I had nothing to say in that because I'm just like, you had this golden opportunity.
That's when you start doing the,
oh, really? Amazing.
Here we are. Yeah.
And this was my early days of really getting to networking. So I'm like, man, I'm all over the place. I could really help you, but you won't zero in it. And that's when I discovered how important this is. Because remember, the more work you put into getting, or the more work you put into looking and educating on the referral, the less work I have to do, the more likely I will want to pass that referral to you.
Absolutely.
If we have the credibility.
Yes.
All right. Any other final thoughts on this?
I don't. I think that was a great little reminder of why that's so important.
It is. All right. So you do the work, you'll get the results. I can't put a guarantee on that, but I will 80% guarantee that will work every time. Is that a good guarantee?
Guaranteed to work 20% of the time, every time. I can't remember exactly.
It is. No, you're right. 80% of the time it works.
Isn't it Anchorman?
Every time. Yes, that's Anchorman. Yeah. One of my favorite movies. All right. So please leave us a review. We love how many stars?
All 5, please.
All 5 stars are great. If you leave a comment, we do read those. We'll address them here. So even if you say, hey, say my name on the show, I will do that.
Brandon will do it.
I will do that. So as long as we make sure we see it. And then, of course, check out YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel, and you can watch this live. Of course, we are on all streaming platforms. So thank you so much for your subscription, because I'm sure you've subscribed. And we look forward to talking to you on the next podcast.